Hi everyone, welcome to the Movie Substance Show. My name is Fariba, and tonight we just got the brand new episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I believe we're on episode 5 now, so we're already halfway through the series. And from what I was, or at least what I was able to deduce from a lot of the reviews, is that moving forward, like, everything just gets better and better, or at least escalates and intensifies in a way that it is very close to the Netflix version of the series, which is a great thing. I think that's exactly what I want. Like, if it's as close to the Netflix version as it can be, then that's great. I mean, we're already seeing that, there's already evidence of that with the last few episodes that we've seen so far. I mean, last episode was just a huge bombshell. And now it's just a matter of seeing what the aftermath is going to be like. I believe this one's going to be a little bit more flashback heavy, so we'll see how that goes. But I mean, there's no denying that right now this series, or at least this season, has been a lot more intriguing and has been a lot more investing because of the fact that the story itself has been a lot more tight. It's already a lot better than season 1. I'm already liking it. I'm loving the fact that we are really raising the stakes. I believe by today, hopefully, maybe, who knows, if we're gonna get a little bit of like an actual verification about Vanessa's fate, because I'm pretty sure a lot of us kind of imagined that was about to happen. Like, I think there was just so many hints and foreshadows that something terrible was going to happen to Vanessa, and we saw what happened at the end of that episode. But let's also be clear that, in terms of this season, I've never been so intrigued by Bullseye like ever before. I know last season, or, the first season, it was kind of okay. We know that he played a part in Foggy's death and he ended up being present, but there just wasn't really a whole lot to play with that. Whereas, honestly, the last episode alone really made me so curious about the character, and also made me kind of like, okay, this is maybe one of the most complex characters that we have so far this season, even so, to the point where I'm actually more interested in him as a character than Matt Murdock, which is like absolutely insane. But I mean, overall, so far this season has been in a very good start. It's been going in the right direction. Most of the characters seem to be really, really interesting. There's something going on. It's a lot more tight. Everyone is involved in some way, some form, and that's exactly what I wanted from this season. It's a lot better. You can tell they knew they had a direction on hand. Now it's a matter of seeing how that's going to escalate. Of course, there's the thing, and there's the whole whisper in the room about the fact that Mike Coulter has unfortunately kind of spoiled some things, and so I'm kind of a little bit aware how things are going to end if my suspicions are what I think are. But even that being the case, hopefully we can at least enjoy the rest of the season. So without further ado, I don't even want to wait, so without further ado, let's get right down into episode 5 of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Oh, so she could be in a coma.
I need blood pressure, I need heart rate.
Keep them alive.
We don't, sir.
Oh, she's not. Oh, okay. So she's like.
Pretty sure we have them
Okay.
surrounded.
She's not
Sir, I want to find them as bad as
unalived
we
yet.
No. No! Whatever you need, man. We're with you.
Aww.
You don't have to do this. We'll just balance here. None of this matters now. It matters to me.
Yeah, no comment.
Interesting. That ratio change.
I can only imagine the total.
If she is, it all balances. Your friend, Fisk's wife. Scales settled. And I'm ready for
Scales.
judgment.
Oh, good for you.
Oh my god.
You're not
Lots of
listening.
puns.
Vanessa, Foggy.
Oh, he said the name.
Don't say his name.
Ooh.
You don't get that. Don't say his name.
Even the best avocados have to do grunt work.
Guess we're gonna have to break it to Josie that we're
avocados.
not paying off the tab tonight.
Still understand. Well, narcotics, including but not
Oh my
limited
god, my babies.
Moxie, Roxy, wait for it. Zoxy.
They were babies.
I said walking bombs.
Throwing a firearms charge, fake ID.
Oh, I remember that guy. Oh my god.
This is Wesley. Right.
Wesley's back.
We should start diversifying.
Yeah, because
In this
Bitcoin was like a
new
big thing
world.
back then.
We can no longer be old-fashioned in our way of thinking. Who runs an art gallery? Blue chip, real.
Oh, we're going like way back, like season 1.
Could be an interesting market for us.
Like way back, like the first
Yeah.
episode, season 1.
Potential.
Is her hand actually moving?
We need to get you out.
Stop!
This is pointless. Let's be real. You kill me, and then you try to save me. And I'm the one who needs help.
Oh, Lord.
I sighted that on Josie's roof. Well, maybe tonight's penance is mutual. Come on. Come
My
on.
Lord.
Punching up before the elevator rush.
Oh my god,
No
that's
plans?
like old school Matt Murdock here.
Allowance? Well, that's right. As of tonight.
What do you
Oh,
think,
this
18
is
more
like
months?
way
Before we
before.
open doors on Murdoch and Nelson.
Congratulations, fuckos. Great job with the precinct today.
All he had to...
Can't be right.
It is right. I mean, it's a clerical error, but this is invalid.
Huh.
Everything discovered in this warrant is
That piece of paper is
get out of jail free card. What do we do?
selling drugs. He's poisoning the neighborhood.
Yeah, but what?
Oh, we're
He was
playing
also
into
a raging
ethics.
prick to you when you were kids. You want to spring the guy?
Pressing evidence.
Objection. Suppressing is questionable. One might even say inflammatory phrasing in this particular instance, counselor.
Aren't you supposed to be the Catholic one here?
Oh, come on. All right, so fine. I'm gonna go with guilt now.
About that in the Bible. Second chances, redemption.
He ain't
All I
wrong.
know is if he goes to jail,
She's gonna be fine.
That's my point. There are pivotal moments in a man's life, Daniel, which define what kind of man he is, what he's really made of. Mr. Fisk changed my life in one of those moments. And now it seems someone, God knows who, has leaked the hospital to the press.
He's in trouble.
But you're not saying you think it's me, are you? Buck, I didn't have any.
Oh my god. Yikes. Oh, so he's known him like long ago. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh,
Fucking hell, you come up in the world, haven't you?
Living the dream.
he's so different.
I understand you have some sort of open assignment.
Recognize this place, you piece of shit.
Church.
Me. Kills me.
Us.
No,
I was there.
both.
That is
It's
more
both.
than enough for Fisk.
Just people. And brother, we are who we are. You know those nights we provide shelter to both of you, but I think they know you're here.
Frick. Do I know where they're going?
Listen, we're gonna come check the place out. Mayor's orders.
I can't save us both. I'm sorry, I tried.
Oh my god, Matt. Oh.
When I came back to the office and found the empty book,
how'd you know?
spend enough time
They
in the
used-
same tiny office with the
oh.
same person, you tend to know what they're thinking.
Josie's.
Obviously. What are we celebrating? Mercy.
Get out of the car, Daniel.
Yikes.
I like you, Daniel. I really do. But we work for a man who can change your life. Joyce.
Oh, I figured it was the dead body.
Saw or shovel?
Oh, they brought him to Frank's place. Damn. Oh, she's alive. Oh, she ain't dead. Wow.
You don't like pineapple.
I don't.
No, your lips, it makes them tingle, I believe.
Why did you scare the poor girl?
No.
You practically made her cry.
No, I'm just
Oh, she's
overwhelmed,
different.
my love, that's all.
Tell me the story of how we met.
I'm assuming she has a little bit of a memory issue. Thought we the hippocampus
I
guys.
arranged for a more private showing, but this is it.
You tell me a story.
She has some memories.
Can you tell me the story of how we...
Oh yeah, she has memory. Oh, she had. Oh. Memory loss.
I need some help now.
That means her hippocampal area has been infected or impacted. Sorry, I say this as someone who has actually studied, you know, neurology and psychology. Oh.
Well, below there.
So that was episode 5 of Daredevil Born Again season 2. And of course, this is not a very action-packed episode, but it is one that is, I'm not gonna lie, very thoughtful, very emotional, very character-driven. And I have to really applaud with the way that how this was really executed. Because at first, I was just like, okay, when I learned this was gonna be like a flashbacks episode, I was a little. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical, because, you know, usually whenever you have all these flashbacks, you know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but when it's so flashback heavy, sometimes I get a little bit worried that it might feel like a filter episode. But, and I'm sure there's gonna be some people who are probably gonna argue that maybe it is feeling like a filter episode because there's a whole lot of action going on, but I think this episode alone really serves a purpose, and a big way of that is just showcasing, I think, once again, how Matt and Kingpin, or Matt and Wilson, are in a sense mirrors of each other. How, you know, with considering the fact that we've just had the situation with Vanessa and the fact that her life is endangered. I mean, you know, we've established already throughout this series that Vanessa is someone who Wilson will fight for. Like, he will give up his life just to make sure that she is protected. I mean, we've seen so many versions of this book, of course. I mean, we've seen this before back in the Spider-Verse movie as well. I mean, for Wilson, you know, Vanessa is the world to him, and he's been very, you know, he's been very verbal about that. That fact that Vanessa is the world, his sweetheart, his love, his everything, right? And even it got to the point where, because of what happened back in even the Netflix era with the season 3 finale, that he was willing to get himself arrested to then set that deal with Matt, knowing the fact that if they don't establish that deal with, you know, their close ally or their closest people, that, you know, Matt has something on Vanessa that would put her behind bars, because of the fact that she was, you know, she was responsible. She was someone who ordered the hit on Agent Nadim back in season 3. So we know how much he loves him, and even got to the point where when we even got to, you know, returning to the series and how he fought to make their marriage work again, we know for a fact that Vanessa is all he has. And, you know, considering the fact that her life is on the line up until this point, we understand how much it's going to deeply impact him. And that comes in a sense that we're seeing that in a similar sense with Matt, because we know for a fact that Foggy is someone who's been dearly to him as well. I mean, they've been best friends, they've been close, they became partners at law, they became avocados. and we remember from back in the season 1 premiere, so Born Again, not the Netflix one, but in the Born Again era, that following his demise, that Matt became a whole different person. He wasn't the Matt that we knew before, who was always about fighting crime, who, you know, at times knew that sometimes he had to take matters to his own hands, and that meant having to take the persona of the Daredevil. And because of that, you know, he became a changed person. He wasn't the same up until, of course, recently. But what this episode really established is just really focusing on the fact that these are two deeply important people, one to Matt, one to Wilson, and how much they really impacted them and how much they've influenced them in their lives. I mean, of course, you know, when we're looking at someone like Vanessa and Wilson, like, of course, they're like terrible people. But when you look at a sense of, you know, what the purpose serves, is that, you know, we know for a fact that they're very close, that Wilson cannot live his life without Vanessa, in the same way that we kind of saw with Matt, how he became a very different person once Foggy was gone. And we see why, right? I think what's really interesting is that we got to see a little bit of Matt. I mean, not as if we haven't seen this before, like, but this is kind of like, you know, us seeing Matt and Foggy, you know, long before they decided to go and establish their own practice in that small office, of course. You know, the beginnings of Born Again. Beginnings of Daredevil, the Netflix one. But even before, we get a little bit more of the insight of how their friendship was. And, you know, despite the fact that they could be friends, and, you know, for someone like Matt, who is supposed to be Catholic, you can see how Foggy is the voice of reason, the voice of morality. How he tries to give second chances to people, how in that one moment with that guy, that childhood neighbor of his, how, you know, despite how much he mistreated him when he was a kid, he knew that he had to give him a second chance because of the fact that his life was at risk. And also acknowledging that, you know, just because of the fact that he did something really terrible doesn't mean that he was born like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that contributed to the way he is, and realizes that, you know, there's a little bit of side where you do kind of feel sorry for those people. And that's what makes Foggy such an essential character, and why he was really the heart of who Matt became, because of the fact that he always saw the good, that he always saw, I mean, as he said in here, like, why can't we think about giving mercy, especially when someone is truly has a dirty past? And of course you can see the contrast with that with Vanessa, where, yes, she's not entirely a great person, but for Wilson, his world is only complete the moment that Vanessa came into his world. I mean, you can see how he kind of felt a little bit lost beforehand, how he's like, oh, you know, just because he is a mom boss doesn't mean that, you know, his life is fulfilled. Like, I mean, there's not always that saying, right? It's like, you know, money doesn't always bring happiness, right? And in a case like Wilson, where, yes, he has all the money in the world, of course, doing it in a legal sense, a corrupted sense, his world wasn't complete until he met Vanessa, and Vanessa became his other half. And we can see how Vanessa, in the last few episodes, has been a key part of his mayoral run. And we're seeing that contrast, especially through the flashback, where we understand why Matt is the way he is, how Wilson's the way he is, why they are so broken from losing the loved ones closest to them. And yes, again, it's not a very action-packed episode, but you have to admire how much they really focused on the fact that, these are characters who, one way or another, yes, even though Wilson is a terrible person, who is very corrupted, who is authoritarian, that doesn't change the fact that he is also, in a sense, a human where he does love someone. And we see that play out in this episode. And again, just showing the contrast of that. Like, we were seeing a flashback of Wilson and how he meets Vanessa, and then we have a flashback of Foggy and Matt, where they're having this argument about whether or not they're gonna let this one guy go, whether we give him that mercy. And I think it's really refreshing to see Foggy again. I know for a lot of us, like, we kind of we kind of figured that Foggy wasn't gonna make it past the first episode of Born Again. I think that it just we can get the sense of why Matt felt so different, and it's probably because of Foggy. I think that's, like, for us, even though the series hadn't been out yet, we already had a sense that Foggy wasn't gonna make it past the first episode, because we can sense how different Matt was in those trailers, and that's because of the fact that, the missing link happened to be Foggy. And I think this is a really good episode that reminds us how much Foggy was important to Matt, and how even in this moment right here where someone like Poindexter or Bullseye, who literally was responsible, who literally was what caused Foggy's death, he tried to, we saw the one time in his life where he's always kept this code of, never killing, right? That was always his code, no killing. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of injury, but it never got to a point where it was like, okay, I got to kill this person. I mean, we even saw back in Daredevil season 3 where he wanted to knock out Kingpin so bad. We remember that, right? I mean, he's so, like, conflicted and frustrated to the point where he's screaming his heart out that he's like, he knows that he can't knock him out because of the fact that, this would change him brutally. Like, he would not be the same Matt. Like, I mean, he would, like, the Matt that he is it's gonna change him forever, right? And we're seeing that here, like, the one time that he actually did break that code, let's say almost, because he attempted, but it didn't go through because somehow Bullseye survived. But that was, like, the one time that he actually was like, he went through with it. Like, he was like, I'm going to kill you. And a lot of that's because of the fact that Foggy was gone. And remember the scream. Remember how he gave up the Daredevil persona as a result. Because remember, there was also that confliction where Foggy tried to stop him from being a Daredevil, or made him rethink that, and of course he eventually accepted. But again, it just shows how complicated things are. But the big point is that there are those people who are very close to you, and how they have an impact on you. And that's just, like, a key episode that reminds us, like, okay, well, here's Matt. He's, like, not sure whether or not he's gonna try and save Poindexter, and then, at one point he's thinking, well, he doesn't have the power or the ability to, but then it's like, you know what, forget it, because he's thinking about Foggy and and what Foggy would think, and realizing that, you know what, there is a chance for mercy. And so we're seeing how, despite the fact that he would love to, get him, out of the way, or get some kind of revenge or vengeance, he still helps him, right? He still helps Poindexter. There's still, of course, the complexity. I have to give props to everybody in this episode. I mean, I think, of course, the key, some of the best performances came from Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Wilson Fisk. And I mean, not gonna lie, I think Wilson Bethel as Bullseye is absolutely just a treat, just because, I mean, the way that he's delivering these performances in the last episodes is absolutely mind-boggling. Like, I mean, the more you hear Bullseye talking, and how it's a little bit odd with how his thinking is, and how he's trying to approach his philosophy, and how that contrasts with Matt Murdock or Daredevil. Like, I mean, just even with that, you're just kind of like, okay, I mean, this guy is so interesting. Like, you are so invested with anything that he's ever saying. And I mean, this is like this is why I really love whenever we have such great writing, some great dialogue, where it really tries to make sure that there is something very deep. And I think this is what this episode is. It's a very deep episode. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of action. We're just mostly seeing Matt. We're just mostly seeing Matt and Bullseye running from the feds, or running from the task force in this case. But even that being the case, we can see how that's transpiring. We can see the reasons for it. It's not like it's happening so rashly. There's a really good reason for why things turn out the way it is. And now we also see, of course, with Wilson and how he's trying to, cherish his wife. And of course, we still kind of have a little bit of uncertainty about what's going on with Vanessa. I mean, even in that moment, like, we don't know if she made it or not. She could still be in a very critical state. So, like, we're still also kind of this uncertain territory about, okay, is she now officially unalived, or is she still kind of alive, or could she be in a comatose state? There's a lot of ways that this could happen. I mean, I'm going to assume that at some point she probably will be in comatose state, and that would still be enough for Wilson to then start hunting down Daredevil and Poindexter, or Bullseye. But we know for a fact that he, at some point, he's going to seek some kind of vengeance. He's going to start, tracking them down, hunting them down, simply because of the events that happened with Vanessa. And of course, when you're looking at that, it's like, okay, this is a very small scale type of thing. But at the same time, for someone who has also watched, the original Netflix series, this is so on point with how the quality of the show was in the original series. I mean, one of the reasons why Netflix, the Netflix series worked in the way it did, it was because of this conflict between Matt and Wilson. They are opposite sides of the spectrum. They have their own, they are kind of very similar, even though they are in a different side of things. But it's at the same time, it's like they are very similar. Like they kind of acknowledge that they have a lot of similarities. They're both stubborn. They're both, trying to take things into their own hands, things like that. And when you have that clash of philosophy, like that's what makes the series so intriguing. And I think what makes this series so great is that you do start diving into the whole philosophy aspect, something that was also a very key part of season 3, where Matt, having survived the whole events of Defenders and then realizing that his mother is alive. I mean, we had that whole situation that happened. Like, I really like it how when there's something so thematic and there's something that has a lot of value to what's really happening with these characters, and as a result there is something a lot with how driven these characters are. And at the end of the day, like, these series are not just about punch, punch, boom, superheroes all the time. I mean, yes, there's still the superhero aspect to it, but what makes this series, and I mean, what makes the Netflix series and what this season does is the fact that they really ground in the fact that these characters have something going on, and there's something personal about them, and it's not just about Chitauri's and Thanos and the world, and I mean, and then the stones. Like, there's none of that. I think it's just a very localized story that shows this conflict, people heading butts, different philosophies, different politics, and how that really unravels on a personal level, and how that really drives the characters. And I really like it when sometimes we have those kinds of episodes. I mean, and as I said, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna complain about these kinds of episodes, but personally for me, just again, for someone who was a little disappointed with how season 1 was, because it wasn't the tightest season, like, it was really kind of jumping around places. This season felt really tight. Like, I knew what kind of direction it was going. The characters are interesting. The characters, the plot has something going on, their stakes are high, and everyone's very connected rather than having to be sparsed and just trying to get some people in and out and trying to connect to the MCU universe. And yes, it's still in the MCU universe, but I think what really makes these stories work is when you have the few characters that you're working with, and then trying to make sure that they're all somehow connected in some form or some way that allows that to have that depth in the writing, that depth in the character development, and so on and so forth. I think that's what also made the Netflix era also work well. I mean, as I said, I think the reason why the Netflix era is so great is because of the conflict between Matt and Wilson. And for someone like me who's watched that series, there's a reason why I don't like season 2 as much. I mean, that's a series that started off strong, but then ended off weak because of the fact that there was just so much happening, and it went a little bit too far-fetched. And of course, that was the one season that we didn't have Wilson. Or Wilson wasn't as involved. I mean, I think he was like maybe like an episode or 2, but even that being the case, he wasn't the most involved. But once we got back to the whole Wilson story, all of a sudden it's like we got some really juicy storytelling, and that really kind of made things work. So yeah, I think that I went to quite into a whole thesis with what this episode has been like. I think this is a very smart approach to kind of just slow things down, because last week's episode was quite a roller coaster ride, lots of adrenaline, and what a way to kind of just slow things off with, okay, let's just process everything and think about what's going on and what is impacting these characters, so that way we can understand them, and then of course then build up the last 3 episodes of the series, because we only have 3 episodes left. Of course, the series will be coming back. We have a season 3 coming out. Unfortunately, Mr. Mike Coulter has spoiled a little bit of the season 2 finale, so we kind of know what happens with Matt, which is very annoying. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose, but now he joins the whole MCU spoiler club with Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo. But that being the case, I'm still hoping that things continue into a way that, you know, it goes into a high road, and that we see that everything really comes together by the time we get to the finale. And so yeah, I think that's all to say about tonight's episode. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit tired just because of the whole CinemaCon thing as well, but I want your thoughts having seen tonight's episode. I know it's one that's really deep, it's really dialogue heavy, but for someone like you, I want to know your thoughts. If you are someone who has either watched Netflix era or has not, I want to know your thoughts. Like, I want to see how you guys feel about this episode. Like, do you think that, you know, this was a good way to slow things down, considering how fast paced, how, you know, adrenaline fueled the last episode was, and this was a chance to be slowing down? Did you like this approach? Do you like the way that they executed the whole aesthetic, the whole editing of it, showing the different flashbacks, contrasting them between Wilson and Matt, going really back to the point where we're going to, like, you know, the season 1 era, where it's like, okay, we're seeing these 2 characters and how they contrast, and then seeing how they've been deeply impacted by the people that they lost or the people that have been hurt. What do you think about that? How do you think that's going to impact the rest of the season? The fact that, you know, Daredevil is still trying to help out Poindexter, or of course Bullseye. What does this mean moving forward? Do you think that was it? Like, was that just the last call, that Vanessa may have not made it, or maybe she might be in a comatose state? We kind of already know how things are going to end, but even then, like, how will this, you know, impact going into season 3 as well? And I want to know any other thoughts. Like, is there anything else that you want to express about this episode, maybe that I didn't discuss? Things like that. Let me know your thoughts below. Make sure to like and subscribe.